things like the New World Order and Illuminati type goals. So is this a smokescreen? Why would they have a movie like this portray the Catholic Church as negative and this misinterpreted Illuminati portrayal? What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, to answer that question, I need to go into a couple related issues simultaneously. Okay. There's a structure through history that few of us have thought about, but it's all over our history books, and that is as follows. What happens is you have governments and bank and corporate systems of the world attacking humans in various ways all through history. And finally, the people wake up to this in some way or other a little bit, and then they attack the system back. Now, what's the point here is that this process, which occurs over and over, and I'll give examples in just a second, is always engineered. Okay, now my thesis is, now I said my theory is that this is what's going on with the Catholic Church as well. We're supposed to, perhaps, this is a little bit speculative, but if I do have reasons for saying this, we could be being lured into worldwide attacking some of the power structures that have remained untouchable for some time, and that's because the dark masters way behind the scenes, who are, notice I have not said the Catholic Church is the Nephilim. They're controlled by the Nephilim. Right. They're in cahoots with it, as I said. But so you have to understand that one of the most ecstatic things for the Dark Masters is to find those most loyal to them and sacrifice them. This is like when Caligula, the horrific emperor of Rome, would go find his most loyal soldier or sergeant or whatever to him and go and have him massacred in the town square for everybody to laugh at and for his as a spectacle. Now, the same thing here could be going on with the Catholic Church, where when let me explain World War II. When World War II happened, we had Hitler being disclosed to us in the mass media systems of the world. So all of a sudden, part of this New World Order system was revealed to us. The world found out how horrific it was, how occult and satanic it was, and so the world attacked back. Now, that was by design. All of World War II was just an engineered Nephilim Illuminati project. Just like the Iraq War was, it was a theater of war. So now the same thing is going on, more than surmise, worldwide, all over the place. You've got revolt brewing, and it appears what's being orchestrated is sometime down the road, next year, 10 years, 20 years, sometime, the whole world is going to go into revolution and attack the lower levels of the New World Order system. They're never going to know that the Illuminati system is there. The Nephilim are there. They're going to attack the Catholic Church. They're going to attack the Zionists. They're going to attack the governments of the world. They're going to attack the corporatists and so forth. And thinking that those are the real enemies. Now, those are enemies of the people, of course, but they're not the real enemies. So something like angels and demons could be baiting us along to do this. And why do you? Interestingly, they broadcasted all the priest rapes and so forth back in 2001, 2002. They also, we all knew this was going on. That priests were sexually abusing children all over the place for centuries. Go look what they did to the Native American children. All of a sudden, now it's in the news. All of a sudden, give me a break. Why is the controlled media telling us all this stuff? And it just has to be, we're sort of being baited along to think that's the enemy. So I think there's a big picture here going on that we're being baited along into. World War IV could be the people versus the puppet levels, and that could be angels and demons, for example, could be just another little teeny bit in that baiting.
Let me throw something at you, because you just kind of made me go off into some different thoughts around that. The movies today, for instance, are very violent. And, television is very violent. Music is very violent. And we see, like you're saying, there was an event in Austin where a plane hit the IRS building, and we've seen other acts of violence that could be false flags, or they could be people are genuinely upset about some of the things that are going on today. Certainly with the Tea Party movement, we see patriots very upset about the direction that the country is going in. But the question I have for you is that if they draw us into a revolt and we become the violent ones, even if we were to destroy the physical presence on the earth, wouldn't we then become the underlings of the Illuminati?
Absolutely. That would be the whole point. It's just the whole point of the Illuminati system is, and tell me if this doesn't answer your question, the whole point of the Illuminati system is for them to stand back and contaminate and destroy not only people but nature overall,
Right.
radiating crops and fluoridating the water and chemtrailing the skies, and it's just endless. But the whole
Right.
point is to set up a whole world of destruction and chaos and humans fighting against. Now we're all supposed to be arguing about global warming, and we're supposed to be fighting each other in Iraq and Pakistan and Afghanistan and Africa. Everybody's fighting. The whole point of the world is for everybody to fight against everybody in all kinds of different ways, psychologically, physically, and so forth, while they sit back and relish. It's difficult, I know, probably for listeners to understand, and this is outlined in huge detail all throughout my film. They want the world to be an art project, and that art, what I just described, war and starvation and weather controlled hurricanes and so forth, all that gives them a dark spiritual ecstasy. I know it's difficult for you to understand, but this is the big game. If you go study the serial killers, when they were cutting apart their victims in their little rituals, they would attain a spiritual high. I mean, it's just, this goes very deep, and there's all kinds of ramifications of this issue. But basically, we would just become, we can battle each other all we want until we realize that there's this supernatural dark source at the top. We'll just always be their slaves, as we have been for thousands of years.
Right. Very good point. Now, again, the DVD in question is The Illuminati Are the Nephilim, and people can go to abstractatom.com, correct? To order that?
Yeah, that's the best place to get it. My other site, antimatterradio.com, has a couple glitches. It'll probably be, the new site is being built right now. It'll probably be up in a few days. But right now, to avoid the glitches, go to abstractatom, that's ATOM.com. And if anybody's curious, the Abstract Atom, that name goes back to my academic days when I was still publishing, and that is the electron. That's another name for it.
Very good. Now you have a basic way for people to understand how secret world government works on your DVD. And the way you explain it is you show the relationship between the CIA and the government. Can you kind of tell us about that and give us a sort of an intro into how secret world government works?
Okay, well, the CIA, it's so absolutely simple to show that they control the U.S. government. Okay, I mean, when Bush was in office, it was just a couple months that he was in office, and all of a sudden, everything about his whole presidency for the next 7.5 years was dominated by whatever the CIA told him. Now, of course, he wasn't tricked. I mean, he knew this, but I mean, the basic picture we were given about his presidency is everything was dictated by the CIA. The war on terror, everything they said, and we got to invade because they say this, and that dominates all the. If we go invade these countries, then that dominates the entire financial budget of the Congress and the presidency for the next 7.5 years. And so if you dominate the presidency and the Congress with money and with their actions, if the CIA can do those things, then the CIA controls the U.S. government, the visible aspect of the U.S. government, okay, which is what everybody thinks is the government is the visible government, Congress and of course that's not the real government. That's just the lowest level of puppets in this totem pole. But the point is everybody knows this. This is an empirical issue that everybody, and this is one simple way to prove that the government is not really the government. Okay, the government is just a bunch of I was going to say morons who are in it for money and greed, and they're just a bunch of grumpy old people, very hateful, horrible, destructive people. But they're nothing. Okay, I mean, you can have as many anti-war protests as you want. All they're going to do is increase the troops because you don't control them. They're controlled by another group. You can think you vote all you want for these people, but they're lobbyists and secret societies, the CIA being one. That's who controls it. And I mean, if you study lobbyists in the CIA, it's just, I just shake my head here and think it's so simple to show that the government's not the government. The government is controlled by another secret government. The CIA is secretive. The CIA controls the government, so therefore it's a secret government. It's just absolutely simple.
Right. And another telltale sign, I think, is that there are a lot of politicians and newsmen who are ex-CIA agents.
Yeah, exactly. They're all over the place. And I mean, they even go on, alternative news radio shows I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that they're CIA agents or something. They're secretly still working for the bad guys, but you got to wonder. I'm not trying to get people fighting against each other, but whenever I hear them, they always seem to be the ones that say strange things that don't fit, just the empirical facts, like what we're talking about here today. I mean, you had that guy Bob Baer. He wouldn't. I mean, he got on Alex Jones' show and started. This was like a year and a half ago or something, and Alex Jones